and presented. This is going to be a 5 to 7 minute speech. It's speech number 3 from that Pathways. And the title of his speech is, I thought whole life was bad. I thought whole life was bad. Help me welcome Ruben Loewen.
I've been involved with financial services ever since I got out of the military, in some form or another. And as a debt management consultant, every time I showed somebody how to get out of debt, they started looking at buying a house. So I got my real estate license, started doing real estate mortgages in California. I became a broker, and then things started getting real shaky, and I transitioned to financial services. And I got my life and health license, my Series 6, my Series 63, my Series 65 license, and then November of 2007, the whole world collapsed, and I lost everything, and I ended up going out to the Indian Ocean doing anti-piracy security, and left there, did the drone business and LED lighting, and then food safety in the Rio Grande Valley, and then I came back to financial services as a financial literacy trainer. And I struggled with that down there in the Rio Grande Valley. We were doing it part-time, and my wife died of cancer. And I came here to Houston, and I started doing financial services full-time. And I was getting frustrated by the way they were marketing. It wasn't working for me very well. And I found somebody that I had been involved with way back in 2006 from California, and they were working on these infinite banking strategies or family banking strategies, or some people call it individual banking strategies. And that was a year ago. And they were able to show people how to get completely out of debt in 5 to 10 years without increasing their monthly payments. And I just, from doing that business, I could never figure out using a debt roll-up, the pill method, the bi-monthly payments, never could get anybody out of debt in less than 10 years. Well, now I have a strategy to do it. Not paying in my debt, paying the same they're paying. All those other strategies work if you're adding more. But paying the same you're paying right now, this is the way to do it. So there's the more my clicker. Is my battery? Alrighty. The family banking strategies, they're an account that you control. And usually they're used, people think of, okay, pay for your kids' college. Well, what's sexy about it is if you put your money in an annuity or a life insurance contract, it will not count against your child on the FAFSA form. You don't have to spend that money to get the financial aid for your child if you have it in those type of accounts. Okay, so that's nifty to know, but most of the time people are using it to pay off their mortgage faster. And what they do is they get a large enough policy that they can pay a high enough premium that covers the scheduled premium or target premium and their debt service or their mortgage. They pay that into their policy, then they borrow the policy. It's called an awash loan. So you can tell the insurance company, I need this much money. They'll pull it out of your policy and they'll credit you anywhere from 2 to 5%. And then they'll put it in the general fund of the insurance company. And when they pay you out of that, they pay you out as a loan, charging you the same amount of interest that they credited you. So the credit covers the interest. So there's really no interest to pay, and you don't have to pay tax on that money. You don't pay tax on loan proceeds. That's how you get tax advantaged or tax-free income when you retire. So that's the primary purpose of doing that. So I worked out an illustration. Guy's got a $338,000 mortgage, paying the same he's paying, pays that mortgage off in 9 years and 2 months. Paying the same he's paying. And on how's he, he's not putting extra, he's not knocking down the principal. Well, by 9 years and 2 months, there's enough money in that policy, you can borrow against that policy, pay the balance of the mortgage off, and then you're just paying yourself back. That's how that works. It took me a year to figure that out. Right? I'm telling you now. So that's what you're thinking of when you hear family bank strategy. That's what we're talking about. All right. So then, check the batteries in your clicker before you ever plug it. All right. Infinite banking. It's the same strategy, but it can be used for differently. My son, who's an HVAC tech in San Diego, California, calls me up and says, Dad, I want to do one of those individual banking strategies. Well, I got him a $250,000 index universal life. It's got a floor of 1%. He can't lose his money. You know, when the market's down 30, he's going to get 1%. Right? And he's real handy. He used to do home remodeling in San Diego. He did maritime construction in Pensacola, Florida. He does HVAC, electrical. Now, if he finds a property that's a deal, somebody's is in distress, they're getting divorced, they're in default, he can borrow from his policy, pay down payment closing costs, fix that property up, flip it, put it back in his policy, and go look for another one. Okay? So I'm like, that's pretty cool, right? Well, he couldn't just, if he got a house and paid it down fast and then paid that mortgage off, he wouldn't gain interest on the borrowed money in an index universal life, only in a whole life policy. Now this whole life was bad until I realized this, right? So I worked out an illustration for somebody that paying off their mortgage in 10 years, right? And then borrowing from their primary residence, buying a 4-unit property, and in the next 10 years, collecting the rents, paying down the loan on the primary residence and the loan on the 4-unit property. So in 20 years, you've got 5 properties. You got free and clear on the investment property, just making money. That same concept works for businesses. It's called a synchronistic business strategy, where you buy different businesses to support. So like a farmer, back in the day, used to grow their grain, grow their produce. They would raise cattle, hogs, chickens. They had a garden growing full of vegetables. They were self-supported. They had different businesses basically within the farm that supported each other, supported the main business. You can think of it, any kind of business you want to think of, and you can probably figure out a way other businesses that support your business. Okay, so that's the way we're able to do that is the modified whole life, where you can blend it with term so you can get more growth. You can put more money in the policy. It doesn't become a MEC, a modified endowment contract, which is illegal. You get a penalty and you get higher taxes if you do that. But when you add that extra life insurance with the term policy, there's enough insurance that keeps it from becoming a MEC, so you can put away more money. All right. And then when you're looking at for businesses, it's the business hub strategy or synchronistic business strategy, like I just talked to you about. And you're preparing an exit. You're creating a business model that makes money whether you're there or not. Okay, so you can really retire. You can really have it. Now, I joined the military because after what happened in 1979 in Iran, where they took over the embassy, I was really upset about that. I was going to join the military to make a difference. I became a Navy SEAL, and I did make a difference, I felt. But doing what I'm doing now, because of what's happening with the budget, back when they were having the debt ceiling fight, I realized what 80% of our budget is the entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Only like 20% they're fighting over for infrastructure, for foreign aid, for defense spending. They cut all that out. They still got to raise the debt ceiling next year because these entitlements keep growing. And so I'm looking up in ChatGPT, 880,000 Americans that are currently living off government spending have to have a business of that generates an income of $50,000 a year, or investments paying them $50,000 a year, or we have less than 7 years left before we're out of money in this country. And then we're gonna have problems, right? Because there's not gonna be anything left. So, have you ever tried talking to a veteran who gets 100% disability, tell them they gotta find something else to replace that income? It like freaks them out. But if they don't do it, that's what we're in for. And by me doing what I'm doing, I am helping save our country, and that's how I see it, and that's why I do what I do. Thank you very much.